Hey everybody, welcome into Gemstone Discoveries by gemstones.com. I got Rob here with me today.
I'm back on, baby.
Coming straight off some cultural lexicon talk. It was getting pretty heated this morning.
We can't even go back to the we'll never get to the gemstones if we keep talking about this.
Yeah,
man.
We're not going to get into it, but it just poses a question: does something being popular make it great? And we're going to say no, it doesn't.
Does something making a bunch of money make it popular? No, it doesn't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just tune into the upcoming podcast. Yeah, it's coming soon.
It's an offshoot
Preston's
podcast.
working on securing all of like the naming rights and all that stuff, and it's gonna be some pretty hot goss once it happens.
If my face is a little red right now, it's because I've been arguing with my whole soul about this debate.
The argument is probably more entertaining than what you were arguing about.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we're all in agreement on that. So we're about to be all in agreement on what this fascinating mineral in front of me is, because we did something about it a couple of weeks ago, and it was exciting. We had a lot of fun. There's very few of these mineral specimens left in inventory right now, but it's Madagascar Demantoid garnet.
Nice.
So this is a really a nice, newer kind of find of this material. And it's really nice, too, that the people who mine this, they're really, they're big on putting things back in the environment. Mining, no matter what, can be destructive to the earth. It puts a lot of toxins out. There's no doubt about that. But these are good people who, do this mining. So they replace mangroves because it's right by the swamps. It really is a good company. But this one here in front of us is a $70 piece. It has a really nice, large crystal on it. Which, in the world of Demantoid, which you'll see once we show it, the faceted stones are generally pretty small. So for a crystal this size on this piece of matrix, it really is impressive. But there are a lot of crystals throughout each of these pieces. And I would say definitely go to jadora.com and look up Demantoid garnet crystals. It really is, we have a lot, or we had a lot. We're hoping to get more, but Madagascar is another country that has imposed a lot of export bans. So to legally export something, it takes quite a bit of work to get it out. So these had been hung up waiting to come out, and we were lucky enough that once our supplier got them, he sent them to us right away. So I think we started out with 35 or 40 pieces, and we're probably right around 10 left total.
So is Madagascar an uncommon locale for Demantoid?
It is. It's a little bit of a newer one. So Madagascar has a wide breadth of available material there all across the board, from red corderite to apatite. All kinds of stones come from there. It really is a hotbed. But this was like a newer find. I think it was probably 10 or 12 years ago. And the one thing that separates this from the Russian materials, there's no horsetails in it. So you won't have any kind of asbestos in there, so it makes for a cleaner, better clarity stone. So it gives a little bit more dispersion, in my opinion. It gives a lot more return of light because there's nothing to scatter it. Yeah. So this is a really nice piece, and we don't have the ruler out here, but this would be considered a thumbnail piece.
Yeah, I think so.
There are some that get a little bit bigger, but a lot of the stuff that we had, they were all smaller pieces. You had a few that were larger, but with this material that it's on, it's almost like a solidified sand when you really look at it.
It looks very grainy.
Yeah, it's a little bit grainy, and you'll see some that'll flake off a little bit.
Ruler.
Which, not really a problem, but it's just something that if you get one of these pieces and you get it in a bag, and there's a little bit of like sand down at the bottom, it's not broken, it's not damaged, you'll just have a little flake off.
That's okay.
So, sorry, we'll try and get this to
just want to say hi.
Stay still.
Hello, Jackie. Hello, Laura. Rufo Tris, what's going on? Thanks for joining us on YouTube. Appreciate that. Hope you guys are having a good Monday.
Yeah, hey to everybody watching. It's very much appreciated.
Yeah.
So with this, like on all these matrix things, you'll have a lot of stuff that is sometimes stabilized to keep it together so it won't flake off just a little bit. One of the great things about this material is we've all heard of Faceted. So Faceted is Federico Faceted. He's the mineralogist who verifies all these minerals, cleans them up, makes them look good, and really just does all the work on these mineral specimens. So it adds just another layer of provenance a little bit to this material.
What a hero.
Yeah, what a hero. If we sound a little dumbfounded, Shane's in here doing work on the back scenes, like right in front of us. We didn't even know what was going on. So fascinating stuff. Yeah, everything's changing, except for the product. That's the only thing that's going to stay the same.
Right.
So that's the only mineral specimen that we're going to have on today's show. Because like I said, a lot of this stuff is selling. I tend to check these every day or two. And every time I go to check, they're selling in 5 or 10s. So they go really fast.
That's awesome.
And there will be a little bit of lull, and it's probably just from people rediscovering the YouTube show, watching a replay of it, and seeing what's left. Because we didn't get a whole lot. It is limited material. We're going to try to get more, but these are all one only. So if you go to the website and you see something and you like it, it might not be there when you refresh the page. It's going to go pretty fast. Now, we did say that this material is smaller. It's just the nature of the crystals and the size. You don't get huge stones out of them. I have seen probably 16 karat demantoids, but those are 1 in a million. Like you'll never see depth on 16 millimeter or 16 karat ones. So this is a set of 3. They're 3 millimeter rounds. They are smaller stones, but they would be great to make a nice little ring out of, or earrings.
I was going to say, from over here, the brilliance, like the sparkle, is insane.
Yeah, so these are really, really exceptionally high dispersive stones. You know, we would call them over the limit in a gemological standpoint because they wouldn't give you a refractometer reading because it's way too high.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It would have one if you had a liquid that went above the 1.81, but you know, you can see in that still shot that Shane's showing right now, just the brilliance. You're getting a lot of the spectral colors coming back, and that's something that's very important. So these are 8250 for the set of 3, and really, Demantoid really is something that it's a stone on its own, in my opinion. Other high dispersion stones like zircon or CZ, you can't really compare it to Demantoid because the color and brilliance is so good.
Yeah, I do love the color of Demantoid garnet. It's like that minty green. It's like a soft, not forest green. It's like, it's green with a little splash of something else.
Yeah, I think the mint is a great descriptor for it. It really is. And a lot of these are probably machine cut. They have a really good, brilliant cut to them. And it costs a lot more money to facet a smaller stone, just because the material waste is more, and it's just hard to get all of those facets on something that's this small. Like 3 millimeter is a very, very tiny stone. This is another one that I'll just put that ruler up behind it just so you can see how small they are.
They are small stones, but they are, I mean, I'm telling you, from beyond arm's length, from like 2 arms lengths away, the light coming off of those is really staggering.
Yeah, and these really are ones, people have probably heard me talk about it before if they've ever seen it, that I love dispersion in stones because if you're on an airplane or outside in public, you see all kinds of that sparkle and light. That's what everybody wants out of gemstones or any kind of jewelry. You want people to notice what you're wearing.
Something to catch the eye.
Yep, and ask about it. So that's the great thing about moissanite, strontium titanate, all these things is they give great dispersion and they're going to get someone to be attracted to what you're wearing.
For sure.
And I'm talking about moissanite because I see Amanda out there watching. That's our great moissanite jewelry buyer. So I'll sell that moissanite, Amanda, anytime you're ready to. Just tell me. And that, going back to moissanite, we used to sit in a room that had a lot of windows in it, and there was moissanite sitting on someone's desk. And when the light came in and hit that desk, it was all over the walls, all over the ceiling, and it just, I like all the dispersive stones because they really, all the colors that come back at you, it attracts your eye to it.
Very desirable quality in a gemstone. And Demantoid garnet is up there among the best as far as dispersion goes.
Yeah, absolutely. And Demantoid is really just a unique stone because we were talking about it just a second ago with horsetails. That's kind of an identifying inclusion that'll set you apart from any other garnets that might be over the limit or you might just be on the fence on, because without the horsetails, usually you'll just have an androdite. You know, you wouldn't really call it Demantoid. But this fits all the boxes without that. And same with the Namibian material, the green dragon mine. So the next one that we have up, I believe this is the round. So this is a 30-pointer as well. So the last three were 30 points total weight. And I'll explain this every time that the point is just there's 100 points in a carat. So if it's under a half a carat, you usually say this many points or this many points under. So this one is a 30-pointer, 0.30 carats. But this is a 4-millimeter round. So a little bit bigger, way bigger than what you saw in the last one. And this is one too that same amount of colors coming off of it that you see, the spectral colors.
Yeah.
And even just like that far away, you can still see the flash of those colors coming back at you.
And it's not just white, light. It's not just shiny. It's rainbow of colors.
Yeah,
that's coming out of the stone.
You're getting the yellows, blues, and even greens in this. And that's kind of something too that they say with zircon when you're going to identify zircon in the dispersion. Your spectral colors sometimes will get masked by a body color.
Yeah.
And thankfully with this green, they don't get masked at all. It's light enough
really.
that everything still comes back to you. But these are really, great collector stones because not many people have a Demantoid.
No, and I think the casual jewelry buyer or jewelry gemstone enjoyer does not realize that garnets aren't just red. Garnets can come in truly a very wide variety of colors. And I know I was very surprised when I first started working in this job in this industry 4 or 5 years ago. I was shocked to learn that garnets come in a rainbow of colors.
Well, and that's the great thing about working here is we see so many gemstones that come through here. When I was doing my GIA training, and I say this a lot because everybody should be proud of where we're at, what we do, everything. They talked about kyanite, and they said you'll probably never see a kyanite in your career as a gemologist. And I thought to myself,
really?
I've seen thousands of pieces of kyanite, like all the colors, everything. Even today, I was making up a skew of a color suite of kyanite and then all the colors of kyanite.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's just
Shane's got it on his desk, flying around.
And especially with garnet, I made a color suite of spessartine garnet, and it is out of this world. Awesome. So always watch Eudora.com, sort by new under gemstones. There's always new stuff coming up. And these are no different. We'll probably be getting more Demantoid here soon just because they're so good. And I'm going to try and get John to come on the show with us because I think you guys have had some videos with him on YouTube.
I think so, yeah.
So, but he really is a fascinating guy. He's really passionate about the mining business and what he does and bringing all these to you. So we definitely want to get him out there again.
Welcome in here, Francisca and Janet and Barbara. Happy Monday. Thanks for coming by. We appreciate your viewership. Hope you guys are having a good, I guess it's afternoon now. Feels kind of midday, but.
I can never tell what time it is or anything being in this building. There's so few windows, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, well that's, we've got a ton of windows over there. I know when it's raining, when it's sunny, when it's morning, when it's night.
I'm just trying to figure out if I can go to the pool when I leave work. So I
as soon
walk
as you walk outside, you'll
know. I see windows and I'm like, is it really warm out there or is this just a false positive?
Is it one of those cold days that looks sunny?
Yeah. We haven't had too many of those recently,
not
thankfully. So if there are any questions about Demantoid garnet or any of the product that we're showing, it's really easy depending on where you're watching. If you just go to JTV Extra or jtv.com/extra, shopability is super easy over there if there's any of these that you're interested in. It's kind of like a one-touch thing. We're trying to put all the links in. Robert's generally really good about it. Moderators are really good about putting in the SKUs of everything if you're interested in it. But at jtv.com/extra, it really is the easiest way to shop all this because you can see everything that's in the show and then leave if nothing really jumps out at you. Yep, you can go ahead and go.
We got green today. We have green Demantoid garnet for today.
Lots of green. Now the next two that I'm going to show are limited quantity. They're really low quantity, and they're the bigger ones that I have. So this one is 4, Shane. So this one is a 4.5 millimeter, and this is right at a half a carat. So This one is a little bit darker than the others, and it's something where color saturation is so hard to pick up through a camera, whether it's a cell phone camera, a video camera, whatever it is. I see this being a little bit darker green than what's coming through. Now, that could just be it's right in front of my eyes. I'm seeing it at a different angle than what everything else is, but you know, it's a really good color.
Oh, I love the cut on that as well.
Yeah, this is a really nice square cushion. And this one's a little bit different, you know, with all those rounds, you get so many more facets on it. So to think that they didn't put as many facets on this stone that they did the smaller ones.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
It's kind of a striking look.
But it really has to do with the crystal size. And on something like this kind of cut is going to look good on anyone's hands. From man to a woman, they're not all, you don't need big showstopper stones all the time. No. Something small like this, all the dispersion, it really packs a big punch when you're wearing it. But on something that's a high dispersive stone, I always say it needs to be something where it moves a lot. So a pendant or earrings. On a hand, if you talk with your hands a lot outdoors, something along those lines, it'll work out great for you. But if you kind of just, if you're doing one of these.
Doing this.
If not, it's something that if your hands are just kind of sedentary, I guess you'd say.
It's static hands.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't want it in a ring. But either way, it's going to be something that this is going to be a special occasion type ring. Because it really is a special stone. And you want it in a situation that a lot of people would be looking at your hands. And you know they're going to be complimenting you on it. So definitely
100%, yeah.
Wear it as much as you can if you do have it.
And then you tell them that it's a garnet, and they're like, huh? But it's green.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. You just opened up a whole can of worms. I'm about to talk your ear off about all the different colors that garnet can.
And this is it from its side. And this is the great thing about, you know, Demantoid garnet, is even from the side, as I was rocking this back and forth in the tweezers, you still see those dispersive colors that are there on the side. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't know. I think that anybody who watches these shows is pretty educated in gemstones and everything. So when we talk about dispersive colors, like, what exactly are we talking about? It's basically a color is derived from whatever is absorbed inside that stone. So the return of light is whatever isn't absorbed. So as you're seeing that, so basically, like light beam goes in and it gets split apart and comes back to you. So when you see all those spectral colors, it's just where that light beam is split apart so much. So then you're seeing like individual oranges, blues, yellows, greens. And the more of those you see and the brighter flash that you see, it really tells you, you know, how high of a dispersion stone that is. Because, you know, CZ's one, zircon's one, diamond's one, moissanite, strontium. But they'll give you different levels of what that, you know, brilliance of color coming back is. And it really is fascinating because moissanite is one that is just off the charts.
Top of the line,
I like out of focus moissanite pictures the best because it just looks like Christmas lights across it. So it's fun to play around with all these things that are dispersive because they really pop so much.
Well, and usually when you're talking about high dispersion in a gemstone, you want it ideally to be a colorless stone so that you can best pick out those spectral colors. Yeah. And the fact that Demantoid is green does not detract from the number of colors and flashing back at
no, not at all.
It's really crazy.
And that's what makes it such a unique stone, and it's been so popular and commands such a high price. When you go to the trade shows and you see the Russian Demantoid, it's off the charts. Like you kind of have to shrug and walk away because it's so expensive. But there's something for everybody. That's the great thing about this Madagascar material. The affordability.
That's nice.
Which you remember when John was here and he was walking around that big necklace. I believe it's 44 carats total weight. So for something that's generally this small to have a 44 carat total weight necklace, that's impressive.
That's nuts.
That says a lot. And the material is, you know, still being mined very ethically. The problem is just how readily available it is to get it out of the country because they're working very hard about protecting the environment of their country. Right. And it's just, you got to go about it the legal way. No bribes or anything like that happening. So this is the last faceted piece that we're going to have. And this one is just under a carat.
Shane, would you resend me these links if you've got a second?
It's 90 points on this. We can pop them in afterward. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
But if there's one that anyone's interested in, I can read the SKU. I generally don't do it just because we're presenting information. That's all. Like the links will pop in afterwards, and that is the other good thing about jtv.com/extra. Everything's right below you. You just touch a button. We shrink down to a little box, keep blabbing on, and you can
In the
look.
background.
Yep, you can look and see what it is and come back. There is a link in the YouTube description.
That's right. Yeah, there is a link in the
Okay.
YouTube description for JTV Extra.
Oh, perfect. So, like I said, this is a 5.5 millimeter, so a large size stone for what it is, for the material, and it's 90 points. So this one is just under $400, and that also tells you, you know, about this material. It's small, it's not cheap, you know, at all, but it's also not really breaking the bank. It's an affordable stone. And we only have one of these, so this would be either a pendant or you know, something in a ring. And this one is more garnet when you look at it because you can see inclusions inside of it. Not that it's a bad thing, but you can see those inclusions that are typical of garnet. But it's not going to detract from, you know, the dispersion that comes back from it.
Quality.
It's still going to be a really nice stone and really nice colors. And I just like this cut. The shapes are so good on this.
Yeah, I'm into it as well. It would look great on a ring, especially with the size.
Yeah, and you know, I always say this is in front of the standard issue Midwest stock hand. It's not getting swallowed up by the hand at all, so it's really nice. And the thing to remember, and I'll put the specimen out next to it, these are separate items, so they don't come together, but to think that crystal being cut out, you wouldn't even, you'd have to have a bigger crystal than this to make this stone.
Yes.
Just because
100%.
of waste. So it really is impressive that they're able to get a stone that large. I would have loved to have seen the piece ahead of time that they cut it from, because I own multiple Demantoid crystals myself, but they're tiny. Like they're really, really little. Nowhere near as big as some of these, and they've probably been fashioned. So not really that great. I'll hold this up next to the stone too, because it's something that really needs to be seen.
Nice, side by side.
Yeah, and this is great too. Like I like having specimens just because when you have a specimen, if you have a faceted piece with it, it's really nice to display it next to it, because if you have people over in your life that don't know gems and minerals like you do, it's great to show them next to each other so they can appreciate what it came from, because it really is something that it's hard to visualize.
I love a gemstone before and after.
Yeah.
I think gemstones.com, on a lot of the information articles about various gemstones and minerals, have, you know, a thumbnail image and then a toggle that you can click to say, just show rough and then faceted, which I think is very, it's very enlightening, I think, to know that the amount of rough that you need in order to yield a gemstone of that size is something that you don't really take into account or think about maybe all the time. But yeah, it's awesome to see the side by side.
Yeah, and it's really actually interesting talking about the faceting of stones. At the end of this month, there's a pretty big show in North Carolina, and we're really lucky that we're going to get a lapidarist who is traveling there to give a speech. He's going to come here, and we're actually going to do a show where he'll be sitting over here faceting while we're up here talking about what it is he's faceting, because to see like how the mind works to take a crystal and know exactly how you're going to cut it to maximize everything. I talk a lot during this stuff about maximizing value with colored stuff. They want to leave the weight what it needs to be, but they need the color to be the best. A lot goes into it, and Justin's going to give us a lot of insight into how his mind works to make that happen.
That's
so
awesome.
We're really excited. That's something that we want you to see the beginning of a mineral and then how it gets worked into a faceted form, because that's how the entire jewelry industry works. Is it comes out of the ground and someone has to figure out how to put it in a piece of jewelry to make everyone look even more beautiful. So that's about all we have today. That's everything we have. Look for those Demantoid specimens. They're going to be gone, I would say, by the end of the week. There's not many left, and they're all one only. But if we need more, we're going to try to get more, and it helps when they go as fast as they do to say, hey, why don't you send us some more of those? If there's anything that you're wanting to see, JTV, Tom Joyce on Instagram, on Facebook, YouTube comments, we're always happy to try and show you what you want to see, because
Yeah.
we have such a huge assortment of stuff. Nothing's really going to throw us
got a
off too
ton.
much.
Even
So-
kyanite.
Yeah, even kyanite. So thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys next week, Sundays at 10 and here on Mondays at noon. Thanks so much.